Hey everybody, it's Lori Bradley here in St. Louis, Missouri. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I am in process of 31 projects in 31 days. Today's video is recorded because when this video goes live, I will be at my son's football game. And I would have my face here, but I can't figure out how to turn the camera around for just a video. So you'll just get my hands today. Yes, I'll be sweating at 2 o'clock when this video goes live because football weather is supposed to be hoodies and jeans, and on this day it is shorts and t-shirt weather. It's the craziest thing. So hopefully next week is a little cooler. So I'm thinking cool, and I'm using the Sophisticated Sled bundle today, and it is an online exclusive. So if you haven't looked at the online exclusives, you are missing out on some great stuff. I'm going to show you, I already have the pieces all die cut. So if you're used to my cards that are pretty simple and quick to put together, today's card is a smidgen more tedious, a little bit more detail oriented than some of my other cards. I did this card for one of my demonstrator meetings. It's been a little bit ago, but we did this card, and I love it. I think it's so pretty, and I'm gonna show you what I did. So let's see what we've got here. I'm gonna use a garden green card base. We can go ahead. I've got all these tiny pieces. You can see that I've die cut those, and they're ready to go. Hopefully I have them all. I have an extra set here just in case, because, you know, safety first. All right, so I have my garden green card base. I'll go ahead. I have that folded in half. I can actually assemble the card itself because the other pieces we're gonna put onto the card base after it's all assembled. We're gonna assemble it before we put on the card. I've run this piece of white through the snowflake embossing folder so that we have some snow in the background, because you need snow for ice skating, right? Okay. Then I have the other piece of my smaller mat that's going to go onto this piece that I cut out the greenery. And when you have pieces like this, you can die cut it right out of the middle of your panel. And when you glue this piece on, it doesn't even show from the front. And so no one is the wiser, and you actually save some cardstock. Saves a little space. I like to do that pretty regularly, especially if sometimes I can leave it in, if I'm doing a class, I can just leave it in the space and they can push it out when they're done. All right, so we have this piece and this piece. I think this is flat enough. I'm gonna go ahead and do it flat with adhesive. You could also use dimensionals here. I'm gonna use the adhesive. Make sure I've got plenty, because just to make sure it sticks. And if you make this and you see that it's a little bit loose, then by all means go ahead and use dimensionals. I was just trying to keep it a little bit flatter. Okay, then for the inside of the card, I'm going to use one of the nice little sayings from the bundle. And this one says, "I hope your days are filled with fun and laughter." Or the other one that I like is, "Let's decorate the season with happiness." But we're going to go with love and laughter, or fun and laughter today. Use garden green ink. This is so weird that I can't see what I'm doing because I don't have my laptop turned on. So hopefully you can all see the project and what we've got going here. I'm gonna go ahead and glue that on the inside. And then that's the easy part. Just using our Stampin' Seal. I've got this on the inside. So I'm going to set this aside, and I'm going to get my silicone mat, and I'm going to use that because we're going to use a lot of liquid glue, and if I get liquid glue all over my paper, then it's going to be a hot mess, and then I'll get stuck, and then you all will hear me yelling, and you know, it's no fun. All right, so we have 2 ice skates. We have the sled pieces. We're gonna have to assemble that, but don't worry, it's not gonna take us too long. I'm missing one skate lace. There we go. Okay, so we have 2 laces for our skates. We have our white ice skates. We have our silver blades, and I just used some of the silver foil for that. It's perfect for ice skates, and I'll push out those pieces. and then I used this for the greenery that will go on the sled. All right, so I'm gonna put my sled base, which is the little, the blades. You can do so many color combinations with this, but we're gonna use just browns and wood looking today. Okay, I'll go ahead and poke out all the tiny holes that I can. And then the pieces in the middle of the sled so that it looks like wood slats. This is probably one of my favorite Christmas cards that I've made so far. I've made quite a few, but I think this is one of my favorites. I think it's very pretty. I think a pair of red ice skates would be amazing as well. Okay, so I've got my pieces, and I'm literally just going to take some liquid glue, and I'm just gonna dot it along this line, along the lines where, let's see, let's go ahead and put a couple of dots here just to be safe. We don't want big dots because we don't want it to goop all over the place. Now, I'm gonna lift it up just so I can see it a little better, but I'm gonna attach that sled right here on my dots. Okay, so we've got our sled seat, so to speak, on our sled base. We've got the back and the front. Now this part up here, it's a little bit hard to see, but you can get the picture that the top is not fully covered. We're gonna do the same thing with our greenery, except I'm gonna put it right on the top, right here. If I can get a hold of it. I'm gonna put it right there, and actually I'm gonna use a tiny drop of glue here. And then we'll stick it on a little bit better with a glue dot in just a minute when we put our ribbon on. I don't want it to be straight because does greenery ever hang fully straight? Probably not at my house. All right, so I've got that piece stuck right there. Now let's assemble our ice skates. And you're probably thinking, oh my goodness, this is gonna be so oh, you know what? I think I forgot the other piece of the sled. I did forget the other piece of the sled. Whoops. I wondered why that looked funny. Gotta put this guy on. Gotta put the top. That's the driving piece of the sled. Again, I'm just gonna put the drop of glue in the middle because I'm not sure where it touches on the outside edges. Okay, now we can put our greenery on. Sorry about that. I knew there was a piece missing there. So we've got our greenery, we've got our sled going. This is what it looks like so far. We've got our sled pieces put together, the top piece, that's the driver piece, and then the greenery, that's the decoration. I'll put my piece back down. Okay, now we're gonna assemble our ice skates. And this is where you think, oh my goodness, this looks so tedious. Actually, it's not too terrible. There are some bigger pieces on the back of this. You could use adhesive sheet if you wanted to, but unfortunately they don't all stick where there would be adhesive sheets. So I'm just going to use some tiny little drops of glue. If you have the fine tip glue pen, this would be a great use for that. I just have the green glue, and then it just goes right on the bottom of the ice skate. Fits right on where the blade goes. So there's ice skate number 1. We'll do that with ice skate number 2 as well. Now my finger is a little bit sticky, so we're trying not to get glue all over everything. Just some tiny drops. There we go. Same thing, I'm gonna put that onto the other skate. There's also a stamp set that's a skate that has a die cut, but I like the pieces of the skate so we can make them actually look real. Now, we have our laces. I haven't poked out the pieces yet, so let me poke those out. And you'll see it looks just like a shoelace. And you're probably wondering, well, how are you going to glue that? Because there's no way. So you don't want all those pieces in there. So let's make sure we got those out. So now it looks like our shoelaces are tied, a black lace. Like I said, a little bit more tedious than usual, than my usual cards, but I love it. Okay. All right, so I've got that lace. Oh my goodness, this one's stuck too. I think part of the problem is that I've got a little bit of glue on my fingers. And they're sticking to me. Honestly, these came out really easy when I did my sample. Okay, so we've got our pieces. There we go. All right, it's so quiet in my house today. We'll be leaving soon, and my son left early this morning because, you know, football is an all-day affair. You have to be there for food and pep talks and practice and get dressed and all that stuff. I didn't realize that it was a 25-hour process. Okay, just like this card. Like, this is what we're doing here. Okay, so we have our laces. They're ready. Now, to put it onto the skate, there's a little slit right in here. We don't have to glue all those little pieces on, but we're gonna flip our lace. Actually, we're not gonna flip it. We're gonna put just a little bit of glue, as little amount as you can, right down the edge of that shoelace. And it slides into the slot. So kind of pull it apart just a little bit. We're just gonna slide it in there. If I can hold it at the right angle. Slides right in there. And since we have the glue on the top, then it will stick right here underneath this piece. So it is stuck. Okay, so we have that one. Let's get this one in there. Same thing. Glue right along the front edge. Slide it in the slot. Because if you put the glue on the back side of that piece, it's not going to glue anything. It's not going to be stuck to the ice skate. Okay, now we want to hang our ice skates onto our sled. And I took a little piece of the Essentials twine, and it's just the baker's twine, or linen, yeah, baker's twine. Just a little piece of black, and I'm not going to tie it on, but I'm going to wrap it right around this beam bar on the sled. And we're going to hang. I don't mean hang really, but it's going to be taped onto the back of our sled, our sleds. Oh my goodness, our ice skates. So I'm going to put a little bit of adhesive on the top of the back just so that will stick. And we want our ice skates to be at different levels. So I'm going to put that right there so that it sticks on there. Stick it on that one. And then we'll do the same with this one. Yes, I have some glue on the back on my fingers, so it's sticking a little more than I hoped for. Okay, so we've got that there. Then we just have to decide where we're going to place our ice skates. Now, I'm going to put dimensionals on the back so that they kind of stand up from my sled a little bit. Like I said, you're probably thinking, whoa, this is a little more tedious than Lori's usual cards, and you're right. But it's so worth it in the end. Okay. Got my hangers. Okay. Dimensionals. Okay, then we're just gonna wrap that and we're gonna put our ice skates on however we decide. I don't want them straight together. I'm just gonna angle them just a little bit so it looks like they're hanging. Looks like they're hanging by their laces. And then we're going to attach this to our card. So it's just those little pieces right there, but it's not a big deal. So we can put dimensionals wherever there is wood. So probably a couple at the bottom, the middle, willy-nilly, wherever you want to put your dimensionals. And I'm going to put a couple at the top just to be sure that it doesn't come off there. Okay, it's a lot of dimensionals and my fingers are sticky, so I'm going to use my Take Your Pick tool to pop those backs up. Take Your Pick tool is probably my #1 used tool. Everybody loves their Take Your Pick tool. So you can see that I had black on my fingers because there's little black pieces on the dimensional. Luckily, that's the back and not the front. Okay, so we have our sled with our greenery. We're gonna put that right here on the card front. And then the only thing that we are missing is our bow. And I'm using the large check ribbon, which has a cream color, but I think it's rustic and I think it's perfect for this little sled. Just gonna tie a small bow. Notice I didn't tie it ahead of time so you could see me struggle. Didn't want you to miss out on the in-person experience. Straighten out my bow. And then we're going to attach that with a glue dot right on the top of the sled. Right on top of that greenery. So touch the ribbon, touch the knot to the glue dot, peel it off carefully, and then attach it right there on the top of the sled. And there you have it. Sophisticated Sled, like I said, is an online exclusive. I'll include the order number in case you're interested. And it is, it's a great bundle. There is the sled, you can stamp, you can die cut. It's a great one to have in your stash. So I hope that you all have a great rest of your Saturday, and I will see you tomorrow at 2 p.m. Central Time. Have a great rest of your weekend.